Example 1, read to read. Don't overthink it. Just read it. Send us in a book. That's applied. There's a way to do this really quickly on your calculator, but you'll never be allowed to use your calc for these ones. Like, not in that way. So. Okay, what's important now? Well, we need to know that $5,000 is going into the account. We need to know the 6% compounded monthly. And we need to know the number of years it will take to grow to 75,000. 7,500, thank you. That'll be a lot more years to go to 75,000. In terms of these letters up here, 5,000 will be the principal because it's amount going into the account. 6% will be the rate. Here it's the word monthly that we're going to need, and that will be equal to N. Monthly will be 12 times per year. How many years what we want to find will be T. And what will be the 7,500? The A. It's the amount at the end or the accumulated amount. Grab your paper. It's clearly unfocused. Start with the formula. A equals P times 1 plus R divided by N to the exponent NT. Is this on your formula sheet, or do you need to know it? How can you find this information out? Let's look at the formula sheet and see if we can find it on there. And where is it? Upper right corner, I heard someone say. Now, once you start to look at some of the old exams, when you start your exam review, is sometimes this equation is on there and sometimes it's not. It's on there if there's a question about this on the exam. So if you see a formula sheet and it doesn't have this formula, it just means that particular exam didn't have this kind of question on it. Okay, so if you need it, it's there. If it's not there, you don't need it. Okay, let's fill in what we know. We know the A value is 7,500. We know the P value is 5,000. The 1 is a 1. Perfect, so we need to change 6% into a decimal. How do you change a percent to a decimal? Divide by 100, move the decimal 2 times, so 0.06. N is equal to 12, because they've told you it's compounded monthly. The N under the R and the N in the exponent are exactly the same, so the N in the exponent is also going to be 12. T is what I don't know. What does this have to do with logs? Why are we doing this in this unit? Because you got a variable in the exponent. Is this an exponential equation or is it a logarithmic equation? Ooh, I heard 50-50 there. How do we know it's an exponential equation? Variables in the exponent, and there's no log. So open your little foldable, go to exponential. We're going to follow those steps. Before we actually do those steps, though, we're going to do a little bit of simplifying. So because everything in the brackets is all numbers, let's figure out what that number is. So on your calc, 1 plus 0.06 divided by 12. Yeah, this would be a calc question. So before we do step 1, we're just simplifying it up a little bit. Waiting for answer. That sounded confirmed at the same time? The other thing I want to do is I want to get rid of this 5,000 here because I don't want to have to try to do the log of all of that. So what's the easiest way to get rid of a multiplication by 5,000? Opposite of multiplying would be dividing. So I'm going to divide by 5,000 just to make it a little bit easier. Again, I don't have to do that. I could go right to putting the log on each side. It's just going to make it a little easier. Ooh, why can't we multiply this? Because of this guy up here. So 7,500 divided by 5,000. I heard it but didn't hear it.
1.5.
And that sounds confirmed? Okay, so the reason I did those first two steps was just to make this a little bit easier to do the logs. You don't have to. You could log right away, but you're going to have a lot more work to deal with. So now we're going to jump to step 1, which is log both sides. Step 2, move the thingy to the thingy, the exponent to a coefficient. So I've got log 1.5 on the left, and then a 12t log 1.005 on the right. This next step is always the one that tricks people up. Is it all logs to one side or is it variables to one side? Variables to one side. That's done. Everything's already on the right. The t's there. Okay. Well, we can't factor if we only have one term, so don't overthink this. This is what we want by itself. So how do I get rid of a multiplication by 12? I'm going to divide by 12. At the same time, how do I get rid of a multiplication by a log 0.1005? I'm going to divide. So in the same step, I'm going to divide by both. I'm going to divide by 12 log 1.005. The only reason we're not factoring is because we only have one term with t in it or x in it. We don't have two like we usually do. Last step.
Plug into your calculator.
Throw it into your calculator. $6.775. Looking for confirmation. I smell KFC. It's really weird. But is it chicken?
It smells like junior chickens.
Okay. I'm not the only one that smells KFC here.
All the junior chickens, and I'm
Okay.
like,
Okay. I thought I was going crazy. Yeah, I thought I was going crazy there for a second. Very good then.
I have chocolate.
Confirming 6.775. Another offer, if we can't confirm that. Units? Questions so far? Example number 2, you'll notice a blank. Welcome to the Bank of Thompson. How much money would you like to invest? I heard 5,000. How much money would you like at the end of your investment?
Lots.
Like what's, 12,000, I like it. I'm willing to give you an interest rate of 5%, and I'm going to compound it quarterly because I don't want to do the work every single month. And the question is, how long is it going to take you at the Bank of Thompson to make $12,000 if you give me 5 and I compound it quarterly at 5%? Oh, sorry. 20, okay, good guess, good guess. I might still be alive then. I should still be alive then. What's the accumulated amount? Is it 5,000 or is it the 12,000? It's how much you want at the end, so it's the 12,000. Principal is the amount of money you're investing or the amount of money you deposit, so that's going to be our 5,000. The rate in decimal, N. If I'm compounding quarterly, how many times a year is that? 4. It's every 3 months, but it's 4 times a year. So 4 in the exponent, and t still left there.
And what other equation had it? I remember seeing it.
N,
Yeah.
N. don't know. Yeah, try like nothing, grade 11. You'll notice with these, they're going to work the same way every time. First thing we're going to do is simplify in the brackets. Confirm 1.0125. What's the next step that we did above? We want to get rid of the 5,000. Again, you don't have to. It's just going to make the log work a little bit easier. Even? Now it's moved from chicken to bacon. Log both sides. Ooh. What did we do when we were here in the last example?
Isolate t.
Isolate t, so what do we want to divide by?
4 log that number.
Say it again, sorry?
17.62.
And the answer's always in years.
Was that even? 6.2? Remember 3 decimal places unless the question says otherwise? 619. Confirming that's correct to 3 decimal places. And years. Do you see the similarity between 1 and 2? They're always going to work. Your work goes with 20. It's not bad. Continuous compound interest is a type of interest that really no bank ever gives, but it means that you earn interest every second of every day of every month of every year of the rest of your life. You're continually getting interest second after second after second.
I just mentioned a question about the rounding. If it's 1.2198, right? And you round to 3 decimal places, do you have to tell the 0?
That answered your question?
Yes.
Do you know what a service charge is in banking?
Yes, it's when they charge you a fee for taking your money. It's awesome, isn't that?
They give it back. Like,
Oh,
once in a while, my thing.
they only give it back because you're under 18. Once you're above 18 and not a student, they just take it.
What's the interest rate in Iran if you put money in the bank?
Oh, I'm interested. What is the current interest rates?
20% and above.
Holy crap.
So if you have $1 million in a bank,
Wow.
the bank will give you something like $20,000 a month.
And here, like our best interest rate on probably the riskiest investment would maybe be 8%, maybe. But then our banks are stable, right? They're backed by the government. They have guarantees. Like even if the bank were to go bankrupt, you'd still get your money back. Probably not so secure in Iran is my guess.
It is secure because some certain banks, they have to work.
Oh, okay.
So there are some banks that the people know.
Yeah. Continuous interest starts the same way with A, has the P in it. Now it changes, it has an E to the exponent RT. PERT. A is still the accumulated amount. Or the accumulated value. P is still the principal. R is still the rate, and it's still in decimal. What's E? Yeah, it's E. It's not a variable. It's the value approximately 2.718. And t is still time. Read example number 3. So the question kind of reads like the last two examples. What's the key word you need to realize for this question? Not rate. Not the time. Continuously. That's the only thing that tells you it's the second formula, not the first. Okay? It doesn't have the word compounded. It doesn't have monthly or quarterly or biannually or weekly. It just says continuously. That tells you it's this formula. We need the 2,500, we need 5 years, we need the 4,000, and we need what rate? What's the A value in our question? What's the accumulated amount or the amount we want after at the end of our investment? What's our principal? So how much are we willing to invest? E is just E. The rate? Don't know. The time? 5. They could have given us the rate and asked us for the time. They just chose not to. They chose to ask for R. Okay, a little bit of simplifying just like before. I want to get rid of this 2,500 just to make it easier. What's the opposite of multiplying something by 2,500? Dividing by 2,500. I heard 1.6.
I got 1 point. Oh, wait, I did something wrong.
Was that even 1.6? And then I'm just going to write this a little bit nicer because we'd never write R times 5. How would we write that? 5R. Okay, what kind of equation? It's exponential and it's got an E, so that makes it a natural log question. So ln both sides. Is everybody okay there? I brought the 5R down in the same step. What happens to ln E? It's equal to 1, so it's gone. Divide by 5. And now that's a decimal, so what do we need to do to get the percent back? Multiply by 100. So I'll just put that in brackets. We're going to times by 100 to get the percent back. 3 decimal places, unless the question specifies otherwise. 9.400. Confirm? Good place to stop? Yeah, we'll pick up the last two.